Okay, at this point I'm going to assume you're comfortable with the derivative of e to the x being e to the x, and therefore the integral of e to the x also being e to the x. Now the textbook gives an example like this one, but doesn't explain what I think is one of the most important things. It's a good example to show you why you should choose carefully which one's u and which one's v dashed. Let me show you. If you look at this and you go, well actually I can differentiate and integrate either of them with no problem, you might choose badly. If you are taking notes on this video, stop now. Don't copy this first way I'm doing it because it's not going to work. I'm trying to show you what doesn't work. Suppose you were to say, let u be e to the x, because it's easy to differentiate, and v dash be x. Then you might say, well, u dashed is just e to the x, and v must be x squared on 2. But look what happens if you try to use that. My integral then is switched around u v dashed dx, which then becomes, uv minus the integral of v u dashed dx. And we try to substitute. U times v is half x squared e to the x minus the integral of v x squared on 2 times u dashed e to the x. Well, all I've done is taken something a little bit complex and make it even more complex. So this is what I meant a few videos ago when I talked about how there's kind of an art to using the integration by parts. You've got to choose the right things to make your life easy. This is the wrong things. We don't want to do it like this. So let's try it a different way. The integral of x e to the x dx. Let's see how much simpler this is if I choose differently. Let u be x and v dash be e to the x, because now this is going to get simpler. U dashed is 1 and v is still e to the x. So this is, again, integral of u v dashed dx, which is uv minus the integral of v u dashed. Substitute carefully. U times v is x e to the x minus the integral of v, which is e to the x, u dashed is 1 dx. This is much simpler. X e to the x minus e to the x plus constant. And in fact I can factorise that. E to the x, x minus 1 plus constant.